Hi, I have in front of me here a HDMI over Cat5 sender. Basically, the specifications on this is that it works over single Cat5. It has a range of 120 meters and it supports IR. And the significance of the fact that it supports IR means that if we bring a remote control to the remote location, we can actually change channels from the remote location. So that's a very handy feature, as you can imagine. Now, typical applications of this is where we have a set-top box that's in a central location, and we have a location quite a distance away where we want to connect it in. We don't want to be running a HDMI cable, and we want to be able to change the channels remotely. So often in such circumstances, it's either there'll be a Cat5 cable already pre-run in the walls, or it's quite easy to run a Cat5 cable over that distance. So that's why it can be very attractive to use a unit like this. Now, what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to do three things. We'll give an overview of exactly what comes in the box. We'll have a detailed look at the actual units and how we'd install them, and then we'll give a demonstration of the unit in action, which we have here, which is actually a HDMI or a high definition set-top box feeding into one of these units, running over a length of pre-terminated Cat5 and popping back out in the far end, and we can see the output here on the television itself. So it supports both audio and video, of course. So it comes in this outer box, which we can see here, okay, and inside it we have two power units. It's a 12 volt 1 amp power unit. Both the transmitter and the receiver are both being powered. We have a small user manual here, just gives a quick overview of the various specifications of the units. And also then we have two IR sensors here. One of the sensors is used on the receiver end, and it's for picking up a signal from a remote control. And with that signal being picked up, what it can do is it can send the signal back down through the HDMI cable or the Cat5 cable that's actually bringing in the picture. So it's sending their control signal back in the opposite direction. It pops back out here, and what happens then is that this particular sensor here sits in front of the set-top box, and it takes the signal that it's after receiving from the remote control 120 meters away and runs it into the set-top box. Okay, so what I'm going to do at this actual point in time is I'll just move to the front of the unit here, and I'll just point out the key features. So imagine a scenario where we have something like, we'll say, a high definition satellite receiver, such as this one here. And what we're doing is we come along, we take a HDMI lead out of the box and we run it in here. So this is the input side here, and this is the transmitter here, so on the transmitter unit. And we're just going to take our power unit here and plug it in here directly. Okay? So in the very simplest setup, we wouldn't need to use the IR. We might just want to send the picture, but we have the option of the IR, which will allow us to control it remotely. And on the output side then, it's converted the HDMI into a Cat5 signal. It runs out of there, and we'll say up to 120 meters later, it can pop out, we'll say, where we have the Cat5 cable runs in here, okay? So an RJ45 connection here, or a LAN cable. And so we run it in here, and then it converts it back out to a HDMI cable. Once again, it's using a power unit, okay? If we made the decision that we'd actually like to be powering or controlling it remotely, what we would do is we would have this sensor at it, would aim the remote control at it, sends a signal back as I discussed earlier, and it'll pop back out on the far end, and would leave the sensor in front of the set-top box, and it sends the signal from the remote control to the sensor, which gives it to the set-top box and tells it to change channels or bring up the menu or whatever feature you want on it, okay? So what we can actually see here is we have a very small satellite receiver here, a nano, and we have, we'll say, a HDMI output from this box. It's actually been run over here to the actual transmitter, which you can see here. So the HDMI in, it gets the power, and it has the IR sensor here to allow the signal to come back in the opposite direction. And we run via this Cat5 cable over to the receiver unit here. And on the receiver unit, what we're doing is, once again we have power, we have a HDMI lead coming out at this time, leading directly to the television. And we also have a sensor here. So if I wanted to change channels or do something here, I could just come along and we could just actually aim it at this. And what it'll do is it'll just bring up the menu, we'll say, on the box. And what it'll do then is we just need to make sure that the sensor on this end here is aimed directly in front of the box at the right point. So it's aimed directly in front of where the sensor is on the unit. And this allows us to actually bring up the channels, etc. So it's really, really effective. Now, in terms of the picture quality, the sound, all the rest of it, it's absolutely fantastic. It's like we had the HDMI lead running directly from the box. There's no loss really whatsoever over the 120 metres. This particular unit is part of a wider range we sell. We sell single cable versions and 2 cable versions. We sell ones that support IR and don't support IR. And in terms of distance range, we have everything from about 30 metres up to the very top of the range here, 120 metres. So generally the lower cost ones are the more popular ones, but for specific applications, this 120 metre, which is a real top of the range model, can be really, really useful. And when you think about the alternatives here of how to do it, there is no easy solution. Sending signaling wirelessly, all the rest of it, doesn't really work that well. And virtually every building now, every home even, is being pre-wired with Cat5 cable. So Cat5 is often a very good option in terms of you need to get a signal from point A to point B, you're not quite sure how to do it. These units are very easy to set up, they're very reliable, and just using the Cat5 cable that's there, suddenly we have everything running quite well. So that's it anyway, an overview of the HDMI over Cat5 sender, 120 metre range with IR on a single Cat5 cable.